Ciao, I'm Mario, the Swiss Car Guy on YouTube, and today is the last video you will see from me on this 2009 GTR, a car I've owned for almost 5 years. And the reason is quite simple, I have sold it. And if I sold the car, you know what this means. This is a total cost of ownership video. I already made a video about this car, a very long video about a year ago. But now I finally have the last figure, the sale price of the car, and I can update the video. So I will quickly go through all the items I've had, and then I will update it with the sale price of the car, and I will tell you the total cost of ownership of the car. If you just want to see the update, skip to the time code that's here somewhere. Otherwise, let's get in the car and let's take out the spreadsheet. All the costs in this video are in Swiss francs. For your reference, 1 Swiss franc is about $1.05 and about 95 euro cents. It varies, but you can basically do a one-to-one conversion and you're there. And also, don't be alarmed, the prices are high. Workmanship in Switzerland is extremely high, everything is extremely high, but that's just par for the course for living here. Anyway, I bought the car on the 16th of September 2017 for 46,000 Swiss francs. It had 85,190 kilometers. In September, I had to replace the sun visor because it was broken and I didn't check before, so that's my fault. The car had no warranty. That was 58 francs from eBay. And then I mangled it together. I used 2 sun visors to make one good one. Anyway, in October I had tires put on, and that was a new set of Michelin Pilote Alpine PA4, so it's winter tires, great tires. They cost me 1,235 francs plus 234 francs to have them fitted, thereabout. The car didn't visit the workshop again until June of 2018, where I had new summer tires put on, Michelin Pilote Alpine Sport 4S. Great tires again, and they were 1,501 franc fitted. I also had to replace one TPMS sensor because the valve stem was losing air. And it was integrated into the sensor, so I had to replace the whole thing. It was 238 francs. Very expensive. And again, in the fall, in November, I had another tire change. I had the winter tires put back on. That was 252 francs and 65. In January, I had my infotainment break. So if the infotainment breaks on the GTR, which can happen, the problem is not only that you don't have your display with your instruments, it also, you don't have your AC controls anymore. And that's a problem, especially in winter. Nissan wanted 8,000 francs for a new infotainment computer, so I found a company in Basel that refurbishes these computers, and I had them do the work. It was 1,962 francs. That was very expensive, but what do? You cannot drive around without the GTR screen. You cannot drive around without being able to control your heating, so I had to bite that bullet. Anyway, in May I had the car serviced at 100,000 kilometers and the tires swapped again to summer tires. That was 803 francs 80. A bit later I went to the high performance center to have the infotainment system coded, because when you receive it from those overhaulers, the infotainment says Infinity and you don't have the GTR specific screen, so you have to go to a high performance center where they have the Nissan factory computer, I think the Consult 3 or whatever it's called, and then they can tell the computer that it's in a GTR. And that cost 106 francs or 107, depending on how you round. In November, I had, again, the tires swapped again to winter tires and a bit of oil added, half a liter. That was 210 francs. In February of 2020, the rear brakes needed doing. And instead of buying OEM for a lot of money, for the rear brakes, discs and pads, I think Nissan wants something like 5,000 Swiss francs, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I just bought the Brembo brake rotors, which are exactly the same as the ones Nissan sell, for 840 francs for both. And then I bought brake pads, which are Endless Performance MX72. They cost me 296 francs, which is a very good deal considering they are good brake pads, and I bought them directly from Japan, because in Switzerland they would have cost 600 francs, so I paid less than half of it, because again, you cannot buy anything in Switzerland, everything is too expensive. I also bought brake shoes for the handbrake for 25 francs, because why not, while you're in there, right? So I had the brake job done, and also looked the car over before its periodical inspection. It was 719 francs for the labor. So before going to the periodic inspection, my serpentine belt basically exploded. That's the thing with GTRs. The serpentine belts, they look great until they completely explode. So I had the serpentine belt replaced and the tensioners, and this cost me 1,202 francs. And this was very expensive, because I had to bring the car to its periodic inspection within a couple of days, and I was also incapacitated due to an accident I had on my bicycle, long story, and I needed to have it done quickly, and so the garage where I bought it, they just bought everything OEM. If I had bought the parts myself, good third-party alternatives, maybe even upgrade parts, I reckon it would have cost half as much. But yeah, this is what you are when you rely on garages and when you're in a pinch, right? In October of 2020, I was billed for tire storage, because I didn't put the summer tires on the wheels that year, because I was banned from driving for a couple of months during the summer, so I thought, well, I won't drive the car anyway, so I didn't do it, but I still had to pay for storage, because the tires are stored at the garage. In July of 2021, I did the last service at 107,326 kilometers. And again, they also swapped the tires. They put the summer tires back on that time. And also a sway bar link was bad, so they replaced that. It cost me 1,066 francs altogether. And in November of 2021, I had my final tire swap where I put on the winter tires. And that cost me 238 francs. It's quite expensive. And right now, even though it's May, the car is still on its winter tires, and I sold it on its winter tires. So I'm not going to put the other tires back on. That's for the new owner to do if he so desires. But all in all, the maintenance and repairs on this car was 11,029 francs, or more or less, or around 11,030, because I'm most likely going to round the figures in the table that you're seeing, and not show you the cents, because cents don't really matter, let's be honest. But 11,000 and a bit more for maintenance and repairs in 23,810 kilometers, which is 46 cents per kilometer, 2,374 francs per year, about 200 bucks per month. So yeah. Of course, I also had to upgrade the car, of course, and I put in chrome knobs for the heater controls and the radio controls, because the car originally comes with plastic knobs and they're really ugly and they were also a bit worn. The chrome knobs cost me 95 francs. I bought a carb access port, which I think I have here. Okay, which I just dropped. But this thing is used to, basically you can flash engine management software, you can flash transmission computer software on it, and I basically bought it for the transmission, because I didn't want to tune the car. I've never really had. I think it's powerful enough and I need it to be reliable, but I wanted to have the newer transmission software, the better transmission software with the launch control that doesn't destroy your gearbox, and also with an improved shifting, meaning that it would shift later, it would drive in lower gears, making the car feel more sprightly when you're in automatic mode. The carb access port cost me 806 francs. Then I also replaced the car at the side vents, because my car had red side vents when I bought it and they didn't fit the rest of the car. So I bought some carbon fiber ones, or carbon fiber design. I think they might be actual carbon fiber. They cost 99 francs and they came from either eBay or AliExpress. So perfect quality. The fit is not perfect, but you know, they're not expensive. I replaced the start button because it was like it had a chip in it, and I don't like that. It was only 35 francs. And also the shift gate, the surround, it's made out of plastic. It wasn't very good looking. It was very scuffed and everything. So I replaced it with one from a Nismo. Of course, I bought it new, but because that's leather with red stitching, and I think it fits well with the interior, with the red accents in the car, that one was 152 francs, and I bought it on eBay. In February of 2018, I bought a harness to connect a backup camera. And the harness was 138 francs from the car kit company, and the backup camera was 14 francs. I bought the backup camera on AliExpress. It's a camera that's integrated in a number plate light, so you don't have to make holes and everything, and you can replace it, you can go back to stock, because that light actually isn't homologated. So in Europe, you're not allowed to use it because it doesn't have an E symbol. But I went to the inspection and they didn't even say anything, so great. And also the backup camera makes a world of difference, but that's a different story. I also bought new hood scoops because mine were crooked for some reason. I think they were replaced and then put back in, and they just didn't fit very well. So I bought a new set of used ones for 91 francs on eBay. And while I did stuff to my car, I managed to scratch the bezel of the navigation unit of the multifunction display, and so I bought a carbon fiber stick-on bezel to cover up my mistakes, and also I think it fits quite well with the interior and it looks really good. That was from AliExpress and it cost me 130 francs. Also, because I had a cheap nasty phone holder in my center air vent which scratched the air vent, I bought a new air vent for 57 francs. I think it was from Partsuk or something like that. Anyway, 57 francs. I never installed it, so the new owner will receive a new air vent with the car. But that's it. The total cost of upgrades was 1,617 francs. You might argue that upgrades are not needed, you wouldn't have done them. I did them and I calculate them in here. Then we go to, the running costs, which means fuel, tax and insurance. Fuel was 6,247 francs, which is about 26 cents per kilometer. Or in my case was 1,344 francs per year, because I didn't drive a lot every year. I drove like 5,000 kilometers every year. So fuel costs are actually not that important in the whole GT-R equation. Tax was really cheap on this car because this is a second car on the same number plate as the Lexus. So I can swap the number plate between the two cars. I only pay tax for the more expensive to tax car, which in this case is the Lexus because it's a 5 liter and it's heavier, and the Canton Zurich it's measured on displacement and weight. So this car basically only cost me the 40 francs per year. You have to pay to be able to swap your number plates around, which in my ownership time was 186 francs. Insurance was, this car with comprehensive coverage cost me 1,219 francs per year. So in my total ownership time it was 5,666 francs. So I paid almost as much for insurance as I paid for fuel. This gives me a total running cost of 12,098 francs, or 51 cents per kilometer, 2,604 francs per year. And if I add all of this together, I get a cost of ownership, which is 24,745 Swiss francs, or about 1 franc and 4 cents per kilometer, 5,325 francs per year. Now, if you want to get to the total cost of ownership, well, we need to add or detract the depreciation. Depreciation is the difference between what you paid for the car and what you sold it for. And well, when I did my last video, I reckoned that I would probably lose about 8,000 francs in depreciation. So buying the car at 46,000, that would mean selling it probably easily for 38,000. Well, I sold the car for 48,000. So yes, I sold the car for 2,000 francs more than I bought it for 5 years ago almost. So my depreciation is actually minus 2,000 francs, which means that my total cost of ownership is less than my cost of ownership. So it's 22,745 francs, or 96 cents per kilometer, or 4,895 francs per year. And this is actually quite funny because it makes the GTR kind of not that expensive. In fact, my Porsche 996 Turbo, of course, that was cheaper. That car was unbeatable, especially with the fact that it depreciated even more than this car. But even this car, at 4,895 francs per year, this makes the GTR the second cheapest car I have owned. Because only the Mercedes 500 SL was actually cheaper to own per year, but even my Porsche 996 Turbo was more expensive if you look at the yearly cost. Of course, that car did a lot more kilometers than the GTR. This is also why the cost per kilometer on the Porsche was 51 cents, while on this one we are at 96. But still, I am super happy, because even though I had some weird repairs like the infotainment, which was very expensive, and in other countries, for example in America, there is I think there is a factory recall on that you can have it fixed for free, and in Europe there is like a program where you can like spend 800 euros and send it to Clarion, but in Switzerland there is no Clarion, so I had to pay that 2,000 francs and stuff. But despite that, the car was actually not expensive to own. I spent less than 5 grand a year all in. That's with fuel, with insurance, with taxes, with depreciation, with everything, to own a Nissan GT-R. And I don't think you can own a car much more cheaply anyway, let alone a 486 horsepower beast like a Nissan GT-R. So I'm absolutely ecstatic that I haven't wasted all my money, that I bought it smartly. But also, I mean, the market has gone up. I have been thinking about selling the GTR for a while now, because I don't drive it a lot. In fact, I checked my fuel records and they show that within the last 2 years I had driven the car less than 3,000 kilometers. So I've been thinking about selling the GTR for a while now, but I actually didn't do it last year, because I reckoned that if I did it last year, I would sell the car for less than 40,000 francs. And I thought that, you know, maybe the market picks up with, you know, all the scarcity, the chip shortage and people having too much cash. And I was right. So I managed to make a little profit on the car, which is absolutely amazing. From a car guy perspective, I think there is nothing better than a car that doesn't lose value in depreciation. If it appreciates, it's even better. But basically, you know, running a car, maintaining it is expensive enough. So if you don't lose money on depreciation, it's already a big win. And in my opinion, this is a way how, you know, a regular person like us can afford, you know, one of these nicer cars. Because if you bought one of these new, I mean, how much money would you lose? 60 grand, 50 grand? It doesn't make sense. So I am very happy, and this is the end. This spreadsheet for this car is no longer needed, so go away. So this is it, the last video on my 2009 Nissan GTR. It's going to its new owner next week. I'm sure he'll have a blast in his car, and he'll hopefully drive it more than I did. And I'm very happy because I made a profit. I mean, the servicing and the repairs, they are always sunk cost, let's be honest, but at least I didn't have any depreciation on it. The third car I have owned with negative depreciation, or positive, because depreciation is always negative. Anyway, this is it for the Nissan GTR. So if you're interested in this car, maybe I find the new owner's Instagram and I'll post it somewhere, but he doesn't seem to be a very online person. But the series on this car is over on this channel. So if you follow me for this, it's time to unfollow, because now I'm devoting my time to my grandpa cars, my Lexus LS600H and my 1964 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. But I might also buy something new, because now I have like a space left that I can fill with another car. And let's be honest, no car guy can have an empty garage space. So I will fill it in due time. But right now the market is a bit too hot for me, and I don't want to spend too much money, so I have to see what I can find and what isn't too expensive. But I think another car is coming, but it will not be a car as, you know, exciting, as fast as a Nissan GTR. But enough talking. I don't want to make another 40-minute video like the previous one on the cost of ownership of this car. So this is it. Anyway, if you still want to follow me on social media, Instagram is the place at Swiss Car Guy Mario. And this is the end of this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos on other cars, because this one will be gone. And otherwise, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.